The main appeal of a home business is that you can run it from home without having to pay for an office or warehousing. This means you can start something new relatively easy and don't have much risk or setup cost. All you need is internet access, a laptop, and a nook to turn into your workspace. In this video, we're going to talk about stay-at-home e-commerce business ideas that you can get into today. If you're new to the channel, welcome to SaleHoo, where we have helped thousands of entrepreneurs around the world build 5, 6, 7-figure stores. Before we get started, I want to remind you guys of the lucky draw this month, where you'll have a chance to win a 1-year free membership to SaleHoo Directory or SaleHoo Dropship. All you have to do is comment below and tell us, what is the biggest issue you're currently trying to solve in your dropshipping journey? At the end of the month, we'll choose one lucky winner and announce that person in our latest YouTube video. Now let's get into the video. The first stay-at-home e-commerce idea you can start is a dropshipping business. Dropshipping is an e-commerce model that has been a growing trend for some years now. Rather than buying products wholesale, you don't actually have to own any of your own stock. You pick the products and provide the shopfront. But when a customer places an order, it's forwarded to the supplier who then dispatches it to the final destination. You're extremely flexible on what and where to sell. You may want to go with established marketplaces such as eBay and Amazon, or set up your own store. You could sell one niche product, cover a broader audience with multiple products, or curate a selection of choice products for a particular audience. The important thing with dropshipping is choosing a product that is relatively high value. Due to a higher per unit cost, your profit margins are relatively narrow, so low-value products end up making you a mere pittance. If you want to make things super easy for yourself, SaleHoo Dropship helps you pick the best products from a huge database of thousands of vetted suppliers, as well as automating listing and order management for your Shopify store. Overall, the potential profit of dropshipping is moderate. As long as you pick a high-value product with good demand, you'll be cashing in. It also doesn't take much startup capital. You can get started selling on popular marketplaces for just a small cost of listing fees. Getting started is also easy. You just need to pick a product and try your hand at selling. And does it scale? Yeah, absolutely. You can start small and keep building. As you scale up, you can automate your business with services like SaleHoo Dropship. In terms of the pros and cons, the pros are that it's easy to get started and there's a high chance for success. The cons are that you will experience narrow margins. The next business you can get into is buy product in bulk and sell online. It's the original commerce model. Buy products from a wholesaler and sell it for a profit. It may seem old school, but it's a model that works. And modern e-commerce practices have made it easier and easier for budding entrepreneurs to enter the race. The world really is your oyster here. You can start small and sell on marketplaces like eBay or Amazon, or set up your own online store. You can specialize, following a hobby or passion, or keep it broad with a range of products. Of course, you have to keep in mind the physical limitations of your home space, so that's an essential consideration when picking your product. Also, make sure that you've done your market research before you invest your money in a big purchase. Comparing prices and availability of competitor products on popular marketplaces is always a good starting point. Also, try to get an insight into customer demand. The fact that there aren't many suppliers on the market selling a particular product may signify a good niche. Or it could also mean that the demand just isn't there. A market research tool like SaleHoo Market Research Labs can come in really handy here. In SaleHoo Market Research Labs, you get to browse many different products and their suppliers. You even get to filter by product category, sell rate, average price, competition, where you're getting the data from, and even compare products and their suppliers, giving you an edge over your competitors. Overall, buying in bulk to sell online has a pretty good potential profit. You just need to pick a high margin product with a good demand and your shop could take off. There's a moderate amount of startup capital that you will need because you need enough to buy your stock and potentially set up your online store. Getting started is moderately easy because it's a pretty straightforward process, but something to keep in mind is that your main workload will be market research and finding a good supplier. After that, you just need to take some product shots, create your listings, and post on popular marketplaces to start earning. Also, it does scale, but you may need to look at other warehousing and fulfillment solutions in the long term. In terms of the pros and cons, the pro is that it's an easy model with great earnings potential. The con is that there's a higher startup capital that can be a hurdle, plus you need space for inventory. The next business is print on demand. It's basically the same idea as dropshipping, but with a creative twist. You come up with a product and the design, For example, a t-shirt with a custom graphic on it. But instead of getting a bulk load printed and selling them from your house, you work with a print supplier who will produce these shirts for you on demand and send them to each individual customer. The great advantage of this model is that you can have a range of different designs on offer, but if one of them doesn't prove to be popular, you haven't lost any money on it. There's a huge range of things you can print on these days. Tote bags, hats, beanies, mugs, you name it. You can also print books on demand, but that obviously requires a great deal more work from your side than a single shirt design. Getting started is easy, and you don't even need to have crazy graphic skills yourself. If you have an eye for what's cool and an idea of the kind of style you want to go for, you can simply work with a designer to create your artwork. Plenty of freelance designers offer their services on sites like Upwork, Fiverr, Dribbble, or 99 Designs. Then all you need to do is find a print-on-demand supplier you want to work with. When it comes to selling your pieces, you can again start simple and go for established marketplaces like Etsy or start your own shop. For print on demand, overall, the potential profit is pretty good. People love unique, creative products, so if you find your niche, you could really take off over here. Startup capital is pretty low, too. You only have to pay upfront if you're working with a designer. You'll have to pay them for their work. Otherwise, you can start with as little as the price of listing your items, example on Etsy. It's also moderately easy to get started, but you do need a good idea and an appealing design. And it definitely scales. If your first design is successful, you can build out to more and more options and grow your audience. In terms of pros and cons, the pros are that there is lots of room for creativity and badly performing designs won't lose you any money. The cons are that you might need to test a few designs before you land on a winner that sells well to a large enough audience. The next stay-at-home business you can get into is selling your crafts. If you're a hobby maker, then this can be a great opportunity to turn something you're already doing into a side hustle. People love quality handmade goods, and the fact that they make great gifts turns the run-up to Christmas into a particularly lucrative time of the year. You don't even need your own website to get started. Craft-focused marketplaces like Etsy boast 90 million active users in 2021 and offer excellent listing tools and support for new sellers. With the competition of 5 million other sellers, you may need to put in some work to get your shop seen by potential customers. But once you've earned a few good reviews, the Etsy algorithm will bump you up in the search results and you should be flying. If you don't fancy bracing the competition of Etsy, there are plenty of other smaller marketplaces around to get you started on your sales journey. Overall, the potential profit is pretty decent. It depends on what you're selling though. Product prices vary hugely from single figures, for example face masks, to high-end products like jewelry or pieces of art. Startup capital is also pretty low, but you still have to pay for the cost of your raw materials plus listing fees. Getting started is also really easy. You just need to take some pictures of your crafts and get set up on Etsy in about 30 minutes. Now, does it scale? Yeah, absolutely. But you'll need to be smart about it. Example, by selling craft supplies as well as crafted products, and maybe outsourcing production as you grow. In terms of pros and cons, the pros are that you have complete control over production, materials and pricing, and you get to expand into selling from your own website if or when you're ready. The con though is that your income is restricted by how fast and how much you can physically produce. The next business you can start is a business for subscription boxes. You may have heard of veggie boxes, where your local farmer puts together the best seasonal collection of vegetables for you each week. Well, the same principle can be applied to pretty much any product category. People love convenience, and that's exactly what a subscription box can provide. They can sign up to your service and regularly receive a selection of whatever you're offering. Some fun examples include the Secret Cookie Dough Club, a subscription service that will deliver edible cookie dough to your doorstep each month. Scentbird, who sends you tested sized designer fragrances, and Say It With a Sock, who, yes, you got it, it sends you monthly pairs of socks. Overall, subscription boxes are quite profitable. You just need to pick a high-end product category with a spend-happy audience, and you could go far with this one. There is quite a bit of startup capital needed because you need to pay for product costs, plus website hosting, and set up your marketing. Getting started is moderately difficult because you'll need a solid business plan with market research here to make sure you know what you're doing. But if you have a solid idea, it's definitely worth pursuing. Subscription boxes also scale. With a growing business though, you may need to look at warehousing and fulfillment solutions in the future. In terms of pros and cons, the pros are that it is a great newish market that's predicted to keep growing, and there's lots of scope to do something truly unique and creative here. The cons are that it's not as easy to get off the ground as some other ideas, but you could start small and trial the idea amongst your closer community. The next stay-at-home business you can start is selling your clutter. Everyone has stuff lying around that they don't need or use anymore. So here's a great little stepping stone to get into the e-commerce field. Think about how much untapped capital is hiding in your cupboards and garage right this moment. There are numerous great places to start selling, such as eBay, Amazon, Facebook Marketplace, or even Craigslist. Start by having a spring clean of your house and identifying all the things worth selling. There are probably more than you think. Take some good pictures and start listing. You can just do a couple each day, and slowly they'll not only start making you money, but clearing up your space all at the same time. Overall, selling your clutter is a good idea because the potential profit may be low, but with no product costs, your margins are basically 100%, so you can make a decent amount. Though, prices will be lower for a second-hand product, of course. As for the startup capital, it's pretty much zero, and getting started is very easy, since you're just selling your unwanted items. In terms of scaling, it definitely does not scale, but an added benefit is that you'll familiarize yourself with the selling platforms out there, and once you've sold your unwanted items, you can move on to bigger and bigger ventures. In terms of pros and cons, the pros are that you get to free up your space and make money at the same time. The cons are that some time investment is needed for uploading all those listings. The next stay-at-home business you can start is design and manufacture your own product. This is one for the more ambitious folk out there. Say you have a great idea for a product you think would do really well on the market, but you just haven't been able to source it from any supplier out there. Well, if you have the capital or can find investors, why not create the product yourself? There are several steps involved in a venture like this, and you really need to follow each one diligently. It's ideal if you already have an idea, or at least a particular industry you want to focus on, so that you do some targeted market research. You'll want to make sure that there's demand for your product, but no oversaturated market. Think about what will set your particular product apart and make it more appealing than others to future customers. Once you have a clear idea in mind of what you want your product to look like, you can move on to designing it. Unless you're a product designer yourself, you'll want to work with a professional here and get all the details just right. You've got the option of working with a freelancer and hiring them on sites like TopTotal or Upwork, or going to a dedicated product design company. This can be useful when designing more complex things, as companies will have a portfolio of engineers and other professionals that can enlist for your project. However, it'll cost you a bit more than a freelancer. After the design stage comes finding a manufacturer who will produce a prototype for you. When looking for a manufacturer, you'll ideally want one that can sell you a package deal for sourcing supplies, producing all parts, and packaging your product. This will make it a lot easier than trying to juggle several suppliers and manufacturers for your first ever project. Manufacturers often offer package deals to sole traders or small entrepreneurial businesses. When the prototype is made and you're happy, you're ready for production. Simultaneously, you should start thinking about marketing and where you'll be selling your product so that once your stock arrives, you're ready to roll. Overall, for manufacturing your own products, the potential profit is very high. This is how commercial giants like Dyson got started on the market. If you have a winning product, the sky's the limit. The startup capital is large though. Creating a product from scratch will cost you. Unless you have some savings to invest, you'll want to get some investors on board. Getting started is also moderately difficult. You need to get the ball rolling with brainstorming an idea and market research, then take it step by step from there. This won't be an overnight kind of project. However, it's all worth it because it definitely scales. In terms of pros and cons, the pros are that you have full autonomy and creative scope over the product. The cons are that you will experience high startup costs and higher risk. The next way to start a stay-at-home business is to buy an existing e-commerce business. If you have some capital and want to save yourself the aches and pains of starting a business from scratch, why not buy an already existing e-commerce business? With the COVID-fueled e-commerce acceleration, there's never been a better time to buy in. Buyers are moving online, and this trend is only set to continue as we move into the future. You can go through traditional channels like brokers who will have listings of businesses for sale, or use a service like Exchange, powered by Shopify, an online marketplace for buying and selling e-commerce businesses. The upside of this is that numbers like revenue, etc. are verified through Shopify. Plus, there are handy filters to find exactly the size and type of business you're looking for. Overall, when it comes to buying another e-commerce business, the potential profit is really large. E-commerce is huge, and if the business you're buying is already profitable, you can build on that and grow your empire. Startup capital is large though, because the value of a company is based on its profitability. So unfortunately, it'll cost you if it's a good investment. Alternatively, you could opt to buy a struggling business for less if you have the know-how to turn it around. Getting started is easy, but it's only easy to buy the business if you have the capital. Just make sure you also have the time and skills to keep the company running at a profit. Doing this definitely scales, and in terms of pros and cons, the pros are that you get to take advantage of someone else's work in setting up a successful company. The cons are that you'll need a decent amount of startup capital for a decent investment. That's all for me on the 11 stay-at-home e-commerce business ideas that you can get into. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you like this type of content and want us to make more of it. Also, if you want to find more suppliers like I did in this video, you can sign up to SaleHoo. I'll leave a link to sign up in the description box below. Are you interested in getting into dropshipping? Check out this video here for a beginner's guide to dropshipping. You can also check out this video here to learn about what kinds of dropshipping businesses you can start. Thanks everyone, see you in the next video.